This next piece we're looking at is a bit of a notational thing where when we're talking about roots of negative numbers, because we have I, we can talk about it in terms of what's called the principal root, where in that case, if we have some value b, the principal root of negative b is I times the root of b, which allows us to clean up some certain, maybe not so friendly terms. So for example, if we have 25 and we want to talk about the principal root of negative 25, well, the whole point is to get rid of that negative sign. We would end up with 5i, while for something like negative 32, we would have to pull out the I, so we'd have the I instead of the root of a negative, and then also we could see that with 32, that splits up into parts 16 and 2. So what we would have there is 4i root 2. And this allows us to make some not so nice looking expressions, well, a tiny bit cleaner, a tiny bit closer to our standard form, our complex valued form, which we'll see with another example. So for this example, we want to express the square root of negative 17 minus the square root of negative 153 in standard form. So this means we want to be able to break this up into parts with i's so we can actually properly notate that, where I'll say, be careful. We always pull the I in front because otherwise it looks like we have the I inside of the square root, and the square root of negative I is not negative I, well, it's even worse, but the square root of I isn't a term we want to deal with. We want that I out in front. So with these, what we can notice is that, well, the value 17 is prime. So really, no matter what happens here, we can't do very much with that. And as much as we might like to do something with this, all I can do is pull out an I. On the other hand, for 153, this is almost certainly not obvious, but 153 is actually 9 times 17. So we can write this here as minus I times the square root of 9 times 17. And so we'll have the negative, I keep trying to make these negative, the I root 17 minus 3I root 17. And those, because they have the same base inside of the radical, we can bring together. And we are left with negative 2i root 17. And I'm going to be happy to be out of this section soon because I keep trying to make i's negative, which is a terrible habit going into our last video here. We're going to be talking about powers of I. This can only end badly, but at least it's ending soon.